are currently in the testing phase of the system.
How do I access the system from Cape Town?
I battle with black people. So what if their service is aimed at a premium market?
5% of students are able to afford it.
So?
Kuya ngokophenyo lenziwe kuthiwa siyanda isibalo sabafundi lapha ngaphandle abangaqedi izifundo zabo emanyuvesi. Lokho kuthiwa kudalwa ukuthi abafundi abaningi abakwazi ukuyiprepare kahle uma ngabe bezosuka high school bezo university. Ikona ke lokho sekudala ukuthi kube khona ke isidingo sabafundi abaningi emanyuvesi abadinga usizo uma kuze izifundeni zabo. Kwafika ke yona ke i-turning point ethi izosiza abafundi abaningi la ngaphandle uma kuza kuzidingo zabo ezezifundo. Bayebethike imfundo into ebaleke kakhulu empilweni zethu njengoba ke phela ke imfundo iye ikwazi ukusiza ukuvula ke wona ke lamasango lawo abevaliwe. Uyabona kosoma business bethu ababili laba engizohlangana nabo ama business partners bona banikeze isikhatsi sabo ukuthi bakwazi ukuthuthukisa impilo zabantu uma kuza kwezemfundo. Basebenzela ke ngala emva kwami ke ePitoli eHeadfield. Ake soxoxisana nabo ngesama business. Puti amiye soxoxa ngeze business lakho. Ulwazi lungitshela ukuthi ke nali business yalibona i-turning point bathi nina nisiza aba student ngama lessons wabo wa extra.
Kunjalo.
Le idea ukuthi nithi nizosiza abantu ngokuthi bathola ama extra lessons yaqhamuka kuphi?
But le idea yaqala kuthi because sasokola thina students as first and second year students because asasifunda sabona uba oluncedo esaselifuna la lingekho to the extent esaselifuna ngalo. And we decided again instead of ukulinda someone to come up with an innovative idea for the solution, but we become the solution.
Yes sir. Nisiza abantu ngama modules kanjani mhlambe nifundisa izinto ezinjani?
Anything from your mathematics, physics, your sciences, accounting, onke nje ama modules. Imoto yethu is ukusiza ama students that are in different facets of the university, first and second year, right? And then siyadlulela na high school, siyangena na high school.
Bangaka abantu enisebenzisana nabo eninabo la ekhaya ekwa turning point?
At this point, in terms of our full-time employees, we've got 4 part-time employees. That includes our tutors and the part-time portfolio coordinators. We've got just over 250. So it's a large network of tutors, and this is just for the branch esinayo lapha. Kunama branch ayitu eswavulayo that is going to be close to Elvids na UJ, where the network yakhona iyakhula. We've just recently started. There's about 20 to 30 in total kubo. Our students, we service over I think 1,200 students that we're servicing at this point.
The reason why I decided to be part of Turning Point Tutors is because the classes in first year are very large and there's not such focused individual attention, and I struggle to focus in a large class. So the individual attention was very beneficial to me.
So far, what I've proper done with them, which is last semester, I did calculus and linear algebra. How they do it is they really help explain, because with lectures, the lecturers we don't listen half the time and you don't get to understand exactly what they're saying. So with a tutor, they sit down with you and they make you understand from the basics of it how to get to solve a certain problem, which helped a lot.
I had a little chat with your business partner earlier on, co-founder Alaikaya. He told me a bit about the business. So, but what I'd like to know is, where did the startup capital come from and how much was it and what did you guys use it for?
Okay, the startup capital, because when we initially started the business, we only focused on high school students. The startup capital was 1,500 Rand. And yes. Okay. And that was just to buy the textbooks the tutors would need when they went to see the client and in order to prepare for the sessions.
How easy was it for you guys to get, learners and get people that wanted your service when you guys were starting out?
In terms of the high school clients, there's always been a demand, especially when it got towards the end of matric exams. So that was not a problem because we were tutors ourselves. We saw the demand. Our whole weekend was basically occupied by just giving lessons to the students. In terms of the university, we knew there was a need, but we didn't know how big of a need it was until we started.
Please tell me about how you guys go about finding your tutors as well, and how do you recruit them?
Okay, we have a whole recruitment process in terms of the tutor or the potential tutor go online on the website. There's a form they need to complete, attach their CV, academic record, and all of that. And then our tutor coordinator go through or do the screening process where they actually go through the academic record, see if the applicant has any previous tutoring experience and so on. And if they meet the first set of criteria, they get called in for an interview. And even the interview process, we have a standard process by which we interview each tutor. And we check if they meet certain criteria in terms of are you able to explain certain concepts to students. In fact, we give them a test during the interview.
So how do you go about making sure that whatever it is that you're teaching the students or the pupils that come here is on point with what's out there as well?
Firstly, we do surveys with the students as well. We do follow-ups just to make sure that the work we're delivering is on par with what they're being taught in class.
I see how there can be struggles around credibility issues with tutors because it's not a tangible thing.
Sika sachitha isikhathi noSula noMaria ukuze sazi kabanzi ukuthi ibhizinisi labo lenzani imihla namalanga. Emva kwalapho saxoxisana nabantu ababazi kabanzi abasitshelile ukuthi laba ababili babe njani uma besakhula.
The time I had to come to South Africa, I wouldn't say I was completely sad. Obviously, it was a new environment and I had to adjust. But what helped a lot was I had a lot of friends from Namibia who also came to South Africa to study. And some of them were already here, they settled in. So by the time I arrived, they were the ones who took me around.
She's from a big family called Namibia, so she loves talking about that. She's from a caring family.
She has a lot of siblings. She recently lost a brother.
He happened to be the one person in the house that kept everybody laughing, like smiling. He would take a situation which could be very bad and he would just turn it around and make you all laugh about it.
She's a strong person because usually you will never see her cry, even in times where she's actually hurting. Ha se motho a ratang ho bontsha di emotions tsa hae ha utlwa botlhoko.
She's too organized. Ke motho e leng gore o tshwara nako, everything ya hae wa organize, and if o se mo leveleng ya hae in terms of go organize, o tlo go fella pelo.
I don't like surprises. I'm not someone who's very keen on surprises. So if it doesn't happen according to how it was planned, I become very impatient. But it's something I'm working on.
Outside work, she's a good cook, like Master Chef.
I love beautiful food. I experiment a lot, and I also love healthy food. Healthy food, but food that tastes good.
Outside the business, ndiyayithanda ibhola. Ndidlala every Friday and specifically Thursdays. Gym is an everyday activity for me now.
He is so passionate about sports.
FIFA is his life. He's always there with FIFA.
My mom is a single mom. As a single mom, you know, she had to be umama notata ekhayeni lethu.
Ebengumntana ohlala efuna ukwazi into yokuba yeyiphi nenye indlela yokwenza lento.
He's a hard worker. Some would say too hard. Okay, I'm those people that would say he works too hard for his own good.
He is an extremely competitive person. When he plays to win. Relationship with his girlfriend makes him happy.
Maria, one of the things endizithandayo ke ngaye, I would say ambition yakhe. Siyafana ngalonto intoba uyilandula goals zakhe ziyafana nezami.
He's a very hardworking person. He's a very caring person. As much as he's hardworking, he's not selfish. He's the type of friend that people can call at any time of the day and have, you know, and need help with. And he would leave whatever it is that he's doing and go and assist that person.
What makes her happy is love.
Things we like doing together, we love traveling. We try to travel. We do one big trip at least once a year. For example, last year we went to India.
What we would like to do together is to go to any music-related shows. For example, Lulira is one of her, favorite artists, and we've gone to a couple of shows with her.
Yeah, we love doing Turning Point Tutors together. Reason being because we complement each other well.
Nana Maria, from a business sense, because we are so alike, sometimes we might be difficult to deal with each other.
Ukuba nomuntu ozokusiza ngezidingo zemfundo yakho ungumfundi kuyasiza ngempela ngoba ke lokho ke kusiza abafundi abaningi ukuthi baqede ke yonke imfundo yabo ngesikhathi esifanele. I-Turning Point ikholelwa ukuthi konke lokho bona abakwenzayo kuyakwazi ukusiza abafundi abaningi lapha eSouth Africa yonke. Futhi bakholelwa ukuthi ke bona bangaba honqa phambili kuwona lo mkhakha lona wokusiza abafundi.
So we're looking forward to big things today, specifically just the addressing of the questions related to our business model and where we plan to take it. Really looking forward to that and excited.
Having struggled with some modules in their electrical engineering degrees, these two entrepreneurs saw the need to help other students bridge the gap between high school and tertiary education. They partnered together to establish Turning Point Tutors, which started out as an informal project to help learners with much needed extra lessons in their studies. And now it's turned into a formal business. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you.
Welcome to Making Moves.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So apparently you guys are a bit of an item.
Not a bit, we are.
Well, you are.
Yes.
They're like wedding bells somewhere in the distance.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Is he asked yet?
You will soon.
So you guys started this business because you saw a need. So I'm going to jump right into it. It's not a big business. I'm scared by the fact that you guys employ 250 people and then do the turnover that you do, because the two don't marry. I was trying to do the numbers of, what would the number be per employee, and it's shockingly small.
Okay.
So why are you guys involved in this business, especially given the fact that you've both very smart, you're working towards your masters, you've done and completed your masters.
Right.
You guys could be in corporate South Africa making massive amounts of money. Why this?
Education has been, and I feel for quite some time will still be, a massive area of improvement in South Africa. If you look at our business, it started off as a very small business, and we mentioned 250 employees. You must remember that these are students, part-time, and this is a variable cost, meaning that
if I tutor, for example, 10 hours, I get 10 hours worth of a service in terms of the remuneration that I get. So you don't have full-time employees that are working from 8 to 5, but rather someone who's going to work for an hour within a day or an hour and a half within a day. And that's where there is that disparity between the amount of money coming in and coming out of the business.
What are the risks with this tutoring happening? You're not there. It's happening at different venues, and you don't. Individuals need to take your methodology and apply it to different students who have different needs. What are some of the risks associated with that?
Okay, firstly, the tutors themselves, they have a contractual agreement with Turning Point Tutors. And this is just from our side to ensure that, number one, all the tutors deliver the same service. Secondly, ensuring that when a tutor is supposed to meet up with a client, that they actually keep to the timelines or the schedule they set up with the student. So one of the risks I can come back to is maybe a tutor not showing up for the lesson. But in that case, what we do is we refund the client for that lesson, or we give them an extra hour from our side, because then it would be a mistake from our side. So that's the worst we've encountered so far. One of the policies we have, for example, with our clients is after your first lesson, if you're not happy with the tutor or the service, you indicate it to us and then we refund you, the money for that hour.
And how often has that happened?
It's rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare. I can't even recall
Probably
for this semester.
Yeah. Twice in all this time. What's the worst thing that's happened? What about the safety of the learners?
Generally, what we do is the options in terms of where the tutor will render the service are either at, say, a university premises, which is obviously then decided by the student and the tutor. Alternatively, it's at the student's home. Right, and then of course that is to ensure that there is safety from a student perspective.
And having a physical space within each university, would that not help?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So have you guys considered that, having a space where you can work from within each university, just to lend it credibility? Because I see how there can be struggles around credibility issues with tutors, because it's not a tangible thing. It's a service rendered by agents, essentially, who have a methodology and an approach, but that's it, really, and maybe an administrative back support. But that's it.
We also in the process of trying to kind of liaise with the university such that we become the recommended tutoring company, or whenever students need the extra assistance, that it becomes, recommended by the university. In that way, the clients actually take more comfort that because the university is recommending this company, it is the go-to company.
Okay, and how do you guys market the business?
Usually beginning of the year. The first one is during orientation week, the University of Pretoria orientation week. They allow external companies to come in, like your banks and so on, and you set up a tent and you meet up with parents, students, you tell them about the business, how the business can benefit them. That's one of the ways. Secondly, with the engineering faculty, they actually allow us, when they have their meetings with the new first years, to come in and tell them a bit more about Turning Point Tutors. What we also do is we got previous graduates to come and speak and just make them aware of what modules they should be aware of, and to try and get help as soon as they possibly can before they actually enter into their first test week and then fail the test horribly. So that's one of the ways in which we market the business before the students actually start with their classes.
I'm going to send you off into a coaching session. So you'll sit with a business coach and, swap some ideas, chat, and see if anything comes out of that for you guys, and if you learn anything that you can take back and implement in your business. So tomorrow we'll catch up again, and you guys will have an opportunity to pitch your business to a panel of no-nonsense judges. So you guys must go sharpen your pencils, and then we'll chat again tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
We've just been schooled about business opportunities that are available in the education sector, but now it's time to send Sula and Maria over to a business lesson with Gareth Jasson.
The interview, it went well. He tried to intimidate a lot from the beginning, but from my side, I've seen worse. I just tried to stay calm and answer all the questions to the best of my ability. At the same time, I picked up on a lot, on quite a lot of things to think about, yeah.
In your space, this concept of having a champion that somebody can believe in, that works?
Absolutely.
Okay, but are you their champion?
But imfundo ayipheli. Noma uSula noMaria benama-masters degrees wabo, basadinga umuntu ozokwazi ukuthi abasizeke ukuthi ibhizinisi labo liye njani phambili. Ingakho-ke thina la kwa-Make Moves sibahlanganise nomqeqeshi, umuntu ozokwazi ukuhlala nabo phansi, aqinise amabhawodi nabo, abatshele ukuthi indlela yaphambili ihamba kanjani.
I'm Gareth Jason. I work for Itatasi Investments. Itatasi is a holding company that operates mainly in the financial services sector. We also do consulting work, mainly for financial services companies. Within Itatasi, I am the Chief Financial and Operating Officer. That means I look after most of the operations of the company, although at this point I do quite a lot of consulting work for the company as well. So all of those aspects, I think, puts me in quite a unique position where I could look at a business from the outside in and see how that business would operate, what would be required to get that business back into a proper operating state. Always make good on your promises. Whether it's in business, where if you promise somebody something, deliver it, or in your personal life. It's something that has served me very, very well. Maybe you also want to start off and tell us how you win new customers for your business.
Okay, all right. So again, one of our policies have been that we tell facts in terms of the way we market our business, but we also sell stories. So we have both active and passive marketing means in order to get customers to just know and understand what the organization is about and the services that we produce. We also understand our market in the sense that we know when to expect new customers to be coming in after the pivotal periods where they're writing tests and so forth, and that's when we are going out to hand out flyers, to particularly speak to the clients, to Facebook, Twitter, and so forth.
So you go out and you start talking to the students when orientation week?
That's correct.
Like when they first get there, what do you say to them? How do you just interact with them?
One of the powerful things about us doing what we're doing is the fact that we're part of the struggle. So we need to dig no deeper than just telling our stories. I was a first year, second year student. I struggled. My 4-year degree became a 5-year degree because I failed this particular module, which was a prerequisite. They are immediately able to, associate or relate to us because we are where they are going to be and where we are currently. I completed my master's. Maria is finishing hers, and we are able to spin at least the directioning of what we're trying to bring across to the students, firstly in that direction, after which we then provide what we perceive as the solution, or at least what will aid the students to do better in terms of their academic endeavors that they will be going through.
I think they're a strong partnership. Obviously, always in business, if you have a romantic relationship as well as a business relationship, it could lead to problems. But I think a strong partnership. I think they are motivated, they've come through the trenches together, and probably they will last as a partnership. So you're saying then that in your space, this concept of having a champion that somebody can believe in, that works?
Absolutely.
Okay, but are you their champion? Because you've told me, we tell our story, okay, and that's great, and you're both master students. How does a first year relate from that into and look up this path and say, okay, where am I going? So shouldn't you be championing maybe second year that was failing in first year, and putting them up and sharing their story?
Sure. I think in that regard, it's not something that we have taken a very sort of serious look at this stage, but nevertheless it does sound important because you might find that not everyone can relate to someone who might be too far ahead, which is entirely correct.
Sula seems quite reflective, whereas Maria seems to be the one who is a little bit more open and more ready to jump for change. So it sounds to me like you guys have got a couple of different sets of students. You've got the student that goes to the university where mom and dad can pay. You've got the students that go to the university where maybe mom and dad, or one mom, one parent, and they're really struggling to pay. And you've got the set of students who, by hook or by crook, they're there. They got a loan, they got a NSFAS grant, whatever it is, but they're there. Sure. So you guys catering to all these students?
Yes. So if you look at it from the private tuition perspective, usually if you look at the student whose mom and dad is able to pay and is financially capable, they usually go for that option because it is a bit more of an expensive option. And when you look at the prep sessions, what you would, for example, pay for prep session is equivalent to what you would pay for a 1 hour private one-on-one tutoring session. So that's literally taking the price of a 1 hour tutoring session and you giving the student like maybe 6 to 7 hours of a class where they can actually benefit from.
Yeah, as in Doyake, I think I can say. And he's really given some valuable feedback. When it comes to the prospect of funding, I've often heard that in terms of the attractiveness from a sponsor perspective, how you pitch how you're going to use your money is definitely important for the funder as well as for the entrepreneur. Do you think it's a better idea for us to maybe look in that direction for the current running organization, be the private tutoring, versus secondly, future plans? We talked about an online platform that we wanted to use.
If it was an altruistic investor that didn't want any return, then essentially they'll be looking for some form of social return rather than a monetary return. So in a situation like that, I would say to focus on what social return you can get for that investment. At this stage, it's probably more a social entrepreneurship. So, honest opinion, I think tomorrow they will come in and give us a social approach rather than a business approach.
I do feel ready. I might, however, not come for the pitch tomorrow. Sula will be the only one pitching, but I will be helping in terms of preparing for the pitch. But I am quite excited about it.
Making Moves has a prize valued at 50,000 Rand to invest into a business. 12 young entrepreneurs will get a chance to showcase their businesses. Each entrepreneur will be given a chance to pitch for this investment to our panel of judges. The judges will use their own discretion to pick the top 4 businesses to go into our final episode where they will compete for this grand prize. You too can be part of this exciting opportunity for young entrepreneurs. Sula, brand new day. Lixesha lakho lokuthi uyongena ngale uyopitchela amajaji wethu amathathu. Already put.
Kakul, very excited.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the presentation.
Yebo baba. Emhleni phela ngike ngathi ngithami ngikuvashele ibhizinisi lakho ngakubona ufundise abafundi lapha yana ubatshela ukuthi kumele benze ini nani. Namhlanje kube ngathi wena ke manje uzokhuluma namajudges wethu. Kuhlukile awufundisi namhlanje uyapitcha.
Ndiyapisha namhlanje andifundisi. I have to convince people uba le business yam iyasebenza, it's worth investing in and in a potential in terms of future. So it definitely is a different scene enzaba kuyo namhlanje.
So namhlanje uthi nje 1 + 1 ufuna ukuthi kuphume 2.
50,000.
50,000.
Yeah.
I like that one. All the best, Kokosam.
Thank you.
Aha. Hake mbuke lapha ekhaya lensizwa ithi 1 + 1 ifuna ukungena ke lapha ku top 4 yethu ke asazi ukuthi uyozala nkomoni sizobona khona shona khona Sula All the best.
Morning, judges.
Good afternoon, Sula. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you feeling today?
Excited.
Yeah?
Been looking forward to the day, yes.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to your presentation as well. You know Gareth, Extreme Left. He worked with you a little bit yesterday.
That's correct.
And this is Martine. She's the tough nut to crack. If you make her happy, then you're an absolute shoe-in. You've got 4 minutes to talk us through your business, talk through why you deserve investment into your business, and then we'll ask a few questions and deliberate thereafter, and then let you know what our verdict is. Your 4 minutes starts now.
Thank you. All right, before I start with the actual project that we're looking for funding for, I just want to give a brief background about the organization that I'm a part of. The name of the organization is Turning Point Tutors. We are a private tutoring organization that provides academic assistance to students in the secondary level as well as tertiary level. That's in the form of, firstly, private tuition. So private tuition is one-on-one tuition where students works primarily with a tutor. The second service we provide is the semester test and exam preparation sessions. In these sessions, we have experienced presenters who are postgraduate, honors, masters, and PhD students that are presenting test preparation and exam preparation courses for students in first and second year level. These are the more profitable and famous of the products that our services that we produce for the students. Finally, we do our weekly classes, and the weekly classes are meant again as revision classes for the students. These occur on a weekly basis where we summarize work that has been covered by the lecturers. Right, regarding today's pitch, since the beginning of this year, we've been working on a project, and the name of the project is an online academic support portal that we have developed. Now, the idea behind this portal is to allow a student to be able to remotely work with a tutor through an online platform. So the need that pushed us to actually see the feasibility of having such a system is specifically from a tertiary level, because there's such a big demand in terms of what you need to know. You find that students don't get to finish work that they need to do in time, and tutors are not available on a 24-hour basis if a tutor has to travel to a student's home and so forth. So we followed a model where we first did some research to see what currently is out there, and you will find that such a system does exist in the UK, in the States. In terms of technology, they are somewhat more advanced than we are in SA, but one of the limiting factors has been internet and so forth within SA, which you will know has improved to a large extent, to a point where it makes it significantly possible for us to have such a service. In terms of what the system would comprise of, from a tutor's perspective, you would need a microphone to communicate, you would need a writing tablet, and this just makes it easier for the tutor to be able to just write out as opposed to using a mouse on the PC. And then you would use some form of, you would need some form of hardware device in order for the communication. That would obviously then be a laptop or an iPad over then the internet line. System software, we are currently in the testing phase of the system. We started developing it in January, and this is a rough look of what the system looks like. You log in, and you'll be able to see, once you log in, that the student has, number one, access to online content. That's the one selling point, meaning that it's localized content. I don't just go to, for example, a Khan Academy where I can see mathematics because it's very broad, but more specific to what I am studying. Calculus 158, and then this is the code, and this is the content and so forth that is relevant to the course that you're studying. Secondly, you will...
Your time, sir, is up. I'll start with my question. We had a fairly robust engagement. And particularly with this, my first question is around your commercial model. How does it work? How do you make money from the system?
Okay, sure. So currently we are in the field of private tuition. You know, we've been in that for 5 years. We have got packages that we sell to students. So it's in the form of one-on-one, one-on-two, one-on-three packages, meaning 1 student, 1 tutor, all the way till 1 tutor, 3 students. These packages are priced from 10 hours all the way to 50 hours. For example, 10 hours with a student, you'll be paying 2,300 Rand, which is 230 Rand per hour. The way we're going to package this is that we're going to add an additional 20 Rand per hour within that particular contract for the student, and that will then encompass the student having access to the system. So it's not going to be a monthly a contractual agreement, but rather a per contract that they sign for tuition sessions.
I'm not clear. You said you need to pre-order your sessions, which is running from 10 to 50.
Right.
And to that, your commercial value lies where you're adding 20 Rands per hour, but you'll have access to the system. How do I access the system from Cape Town without having tutoring sessions? Where do you find the commercial value in that?
Okay, so in terms of accessing the system, we've put a bundle together, meaning that accessing the system means that you would essentially be working with online tutoring. You would require online tutoring, which will happen through the system.
So how much would I pay for online tutoring? Because now we've established that if I'm in Cape Town or Durban or wherever, I can access the system, which means I'm a new customer. I don't have to have ever met you or had a physical interaction with a tutor. How do I then pay for accessing the system? What's your pricing model around that?
That will be, so you'll have a combined payment, which will be the 2,300 Rand, right, which is 230 times 10 hours, plus the additional 20 Rand times 10 hours. So that's what you would be invoiced to then gain access to the system and access to an online tutor.
We spoke about the stratification of your client base. Now, for me, the system is very simply catering for one section of your client base. How do you plan, maybe using the system, to cater for the other 2 aspects of your client base?
We're modeling it on an assumption that the current client base that we have, which, as I mentioned yesterday, is an average of 45 new 10-hour contracts on a monthly basis, and that's how we've done all our financials to see when it will break even and so forth, right? However, it's easy to see the scalability of this particular system. If you look at, again, in the States, in the UK, what they do is that they target your institutions. So once we have traction, we have this running, and we have a track record, we could now go to a university and say, this has been working very well, and we would like now to make this available to you as a university, and in extent, they can then make it available to their students as a part of their tuition arrangement and so forth. But for us, yes, we are focusing on a particular, if I can say, niche market, which is the people that are able to afford a private tuition. We did run a survey, and we found that 95% of them say yes, they would pay the additional 20 Rand, specifically not only for the online tutoring, but the content that we will have. So the past papers, the notes, the videos that we'll be putting on there. They say they're willing to pay, 95% say they're willing to pay that extra 20 Rand per hour, and that's the target market that we are focusing on at this point.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. We are going to deliberate and have a chat with you when you get back. Thank you.
I think aside from the timing, I had, I think, 2 slides left before I finished. I do think that it was a relatively good presentation.
All right, so we've heard Turning Point tutoring. We've heard Sula's pitch. What do you guys think? Gareth, I'll start with you.
So I think Sula struggled a bit to clearly articulate his vision. You know, a bit of conversation with him yesterday, which I'll bring to the party now, says to me he's got a great vision. You know, they're looking at bringing content to students, exposing them to online tutoring. The question I asked him around, you know, how they're planning to roll that out to other segments of their client base? I think it's a valid question, and I think it shows that they've, they actually have thought about it.
Martine?
My biggest fear, guys, is that it's being pitched at a very high-end person that can actually afford this. And for me, the real need in this is not in that segment. So they're basing their research, yes, because their business was started on that. But I'm not convinced that they are tapping into the greater market, which is in the lower or less fortunate market, if I could put it that way. I would have liked to see more development around that to reach more students. Yeah, but for me, it was still that they're wanting to reach that top tier.
So what's wrong with that? I battle with black people, all of you, with this notion that like all our businesses must service people that can't afford premium service. So what if their service is aimed at a premium market?
Pepsi,
who's willing to pay for it?
Pepsi, at the end of the day, education is in dire need of assistance like this.
So what? He's not running an NGO?
I understand that.
If he's got rich clients that can afford to pay for it?
But 5% of students are able to afford it.
So? If 5% is enough for his business to be very profitable, so what's the problem?
But the business can expand greater.
All right, let's call him back in so that we can give him his feedback.
Yeah, put it. Now, but you look very calm. As if we have time, you've already got this, it's in the bag.
Not exactly. I think I did my best. Yeah. And nothing beyond this I can fault myself with. So it's up to them, but it's this business is as valuable as I've always rated it to be.
What would it mean, Gue, Uguti? You're in the top 4. What would it mean for your business?
I mean, if you think about it, the system which will be connecting people all over the country in terms of providing academic assistance, even in areas where there aren't qualified people, it can be big and doing cool. So for Tina, Loma Lileyo will allow us to increase our capacity to a point where Snokwas in every corner of South Africa, which is our one big dream.
I guess now Gama churches feel the same way. And ne vision yako by bona futhi. All the best. I'm yours with Bati. Sharp. Akembukele asazi ukuthi ama churches wethu azothini. Kodwa ke into emqoka lana ke nawe ebonile. Wonke umuntu ozala kuzophitcha uza ngokuzimisela. Ukuthi ama churches bona babona kanjani? Hayi, enye indaba ke leyo. All the best mfuthu.
Sula, welcome back. Thank you. Did you feel that you clearly articulated your business vision?
I did. There still is a lot of, it's a big business plan itself. There's a lot that can't be put in a 4-minute presentation in terms of the particulars of the project itself. It is a big one, but I did as best as I could within the time given.
Okay. And how do you think you did on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think I would rate myself at maybe a 7, just mainly because there were 2 more slides that I wanted to, finish off that would bring the more light to the financial side.
Gareth, what tasks would you like to give this young man?
So I think there are 2 from my side. The first one is I would like to see a clearly articulated vision. You need to maybe bring it down to a level where we can understand it easily without prodding or probing, and that vision needs to be all-inclusive. So how does your overall vision for the different types of clients that you have, how does that all work? How does it all tie together? How does it tie into what your future plans are, expansion, etc.? Then for this specific pitch that you've done in terms of the online solution, I would like to understand, and I think everybody would, how that solution ties into your overall business.
Basically, I just want the steps around the broader reach. I'd love you just to spend a lot more time focusing or zoning in on that.
I'd like you to go and have exploratory discussions with the following people. I want you to go talk to South Point, who do student accommodation. Just go and present the business to them and try and, have an exploratory discussion about what kind of partnership could look like. I want you to go and talk to Telkom, show them the portal, talk about, what could we possibly look at doing. I want you to go to Student Village and HDI, which are both youth marketing agencies. Student Village, I'm sure you're aware of, and they focus a lot on universities. HDI is an ad agency that's focused exclusively on young people. I want you to go talk to those, 4 organizations, and go and just present yourself to them. Because I find that you could perhaps be a little bit insular, and I'm not out there talking to the rest of the world as much as you should. Martine, what's this young man's fate?
We'd like to welcome you back to the next round.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Congratulations, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Good luck with your tasks.
All the best.
Thank you.
I feel good about it, simply because of the fact that, again, his presentation was not amazing, to be honest with you. But his business concept is something that is much needed in our country at the moment.
I had the pleasure of experiencing them seeing the value with business.
Uma siqala le season eMake Moves besidinga osomabhizinisi abawu4 abazoyale kwisiqephu sethu samanqamu la khona ke bezobe bekhompyuthela wona ke lo mkromelo lo nomkhulu. Izinto seyishintshile. Manje sesihleli nosomabhizinisi abawu7. Kodwa ke lokho kusho ukuthi ama-judges wethu asenomsebenzi omkhulu ekumele bawenze njengoba sisadinga bona ke osomabhizinisi abawu4 ekumele bangeneke lapha yana kwifinal yethu. Wena bukela iMake Moves isiqephu sethu esilandelayo ku SABC 1 Mzansi for sure.